All right. So last time we had just started, and if you hadn't got here, that's okay. We're reviewing it now. Is we are going to, from each of these corners, just like in the video, we are going to extend these lines up. Now, this one, for how I drew it in, is aligned. It's set like on the diagonal on the diamond. So I'll just have 3 to start with from each of these. I'm going to circle them in the blue. Each of these corners. And then this one is aligned, so it's the same corner here. And we're going to extend those up. Did everybody get this far? Cool. All right. The next thing that we are going to do is we are going to find the seat height. The seat height on this angled chair is 18 inches. So we're going to take our little scale rule. I always have to look for the quarter. And that's 1 foot 6 inches high. So I'm going to come to this first line here. They're very light right now. And that's where I'm going to measure my 18-inch seat height. So I'm going to set this at my 6 inches and then mark at a foot. And I will go ahead and darken this line here up until my seat height. I am also going to mark my seat height along this center line. Now, I can easily do that without having to do a bunch of remeasuring, just by setting up my triangle and my t-square. And remember, if you're having issues here, pushing your pen or setting your pencil down, then pushing your square to match up with it. So that is our seat height. And we also have a seat cushion thickness of 6 inches. So measuring down from that seat height, 6 inches, is our seat cushion thickness. And we can mark that here as well. So I will let you get caught up to that. The next thing that we are going to measure is the back height, which is 38 inches. We are going to measure that along this line here, this third line. So 38 inches is 3 foot 2 inches. So 3 foot, there we go. And we will take from this measurement here over to that middle line. If when you drew this, you ended up with 4 lines, you are going to do it to, let's say it was the offset here, it would be your third line. Because mine line up like exactly, I'm going to just draw it to this center line. We also need to place the arm height, which is 26 inches, and we're going to place that along the center line. So that is 2 foot 2 inches. And we're going to put that here. Because our chair is so boxy, oh, we also need to, I forgot, we need to extend it all the way across, actually, because we can see that arm as well. Need to clean that up just a little bit. All right. So because our chair is so boxy, it's going to show up a little less dimensionally than it did on the video where he had drawn in like kind of these style lines that also lean back. And then finally, to wrap this up, we're just going to draw in the front of this armrest along that center line and darken the back along the center line to get our 3/4 view chair. It's not perfectly in perspective, but that's not really what we're going for. We're just trying to give a little bit of the side view, a little bit of the front here. All right. Oh, I need to get my back there as well. So it's not too difficult, especially if you have your floor plan right below it that you can just trace up. If you are trying to do a 3/4 view on another area, one option would be to take your tracing paper, for example, and go ahead and lay it out and extend up these lines and kind of do a little bit of a drawing, and then turn it so that you can replicate that drawing here. I don't think, it's not like the most common thing to even be drawing these elevations in interior rendering, so it's good to know how to do it, but you can always look it up and be like, how did I do that again? All right. Now we're going to take our time to touch up any overextended lines, any lines that we need to erase because we can no longer see them, such as this floor line here. And then the last thing that is here is it asks us to center. I gotta find where it says this. Okay. Once elevations are drawn, we are going to put an art piece that is centered above the love seat that is 48 inches wide and 36 inches high. So that love seat is 5 foot. That makes 2.5 feet our center line. Find the 3/4 or 1/4. Okay. 2.5 feet is our center line, and then 48 by 36. And you do want it to come up, you know, a little bit above the couch. You don't want it resting down on it. So I am going to extend this line up very lightly to have my center line. Just really light. And then I'm going to find my 48. So let's see. I've got to do the math on my phone there for 48 inches. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's just 4 foot. Good to double check. Okay, so I'm going to set this at 2 feet and make my little marks. Just see if I have another pencil. Nope, I guess I'm going to go grab that. So 2 foot on either side. So I usually just put the 2 foot at my center line and then mark it 0 and mark it 4. And then I do need to decide where the bottom of my art is. I am going to, if I had exact hanging height, I would mark that. That's not included on here. So I'm just going to push this up and put a bottom line there. And then I will measure my 36 inches high. So my 3 foot high along this center line, right there. And then I will use my T-square to draw these lines up. And my triangle to draw this line over. So I have my art. I don't have any notes about a frame or anything. If I had those, I would frame it in. Because I don't have those notes, I'm just going to make the assumption that it's a canvas or something like that where it doesn't have a frame. And to indicate that this is a piece of art, if you know what the piece of art is going to look like, you could do like a little sketch of what it looks like. Otherwise, you can kind of just do a scribble. I don't particularly like that scribble. But something like that to just indicate that there's some art there. All of my scribbles are looking like letters today. I don't necessarily want that. Maybe I'll just... I'm overthinking it. All right, so we just have a little scribble to indicate that it's art. And then one thing that I did forget to mention is when we were looking at our window, a thing that is commonly done to indicate, hey, this is a window, is to just take your, some sort of straight edge, line it up, and just do a couple little lines here to indicate that there's glass and that that's solid. All right. I will let you get caught up here, and then we will do our lamp, and then we'll move on to our east elevation. All right. We're going to move on to the lamp. The lamp, we're going to start by coming to the edge, and I am just going to make a little mark here on the floor on each side of my circle here. And then I'm going to find the center of that mark, which is 6 inches, because this is a 12-inch circle. And oh no, this one was 18 inches. Yeah, okay. We need, let's see, 18 inches, that would be 9. It was our potted plant that was the 12-inch. Okay. So I found the center, marked that at 9 inches, and then I'm going to lightly draw a line up from there. Then the overall height of my floor lamp is 60 inches. So from that floor, I need to measure 60 inches up. And 60 inches, double checking, is 5 foot. Okay. 4, 5. So that is the top. And we have a drum shape, so this is going to end up just looking like a square, since we're not drawing in a cylinder just viewed straight on from the side. Looks like a square. And it is a diameter of 18 inches, which is our little markings down here. So we can use our T-square just to lightly sketch those in. Oh, I sketched them too high because that's where my total height is. And then I need to find the bottom of this drum, which is 12 inches. So I'm just going to set this at a foot and mark it at 0 there. In order to figure out where the top and bottom is, I'm going to set up my triangle and go back and forth across. Now I can come in with my eraser and erase this out. We don't have notes on the base, so we're essentially just going to leave it as a pole coming out of the ground. I know we would probably have a base here, and what we can do to make it a little bit more realistic is just to darken this line a bit. And then we'll erase that and erase that center line coming through the drum. And then we can go in and neatly finish these lines a little nicer now that we kind of know where they're going. Remember to come in at the end, anywhere where these lines are overshot, and tidy them up. Alright. So that's looking pretty nice. I'm going to pause, wait till it looks like everybody's caught up, and then we will move on to over here where we're going to do that 3/4 view, and I will show you what I was talking about with that transfer paper, or not transfer paper, For the next step, we are simply going to lay our tracing paper down, and you don't need the whole floor plan here. We only need things that we're going to see here, and I am just going to ideally I would tape this down a little bit too, but I'm gonna play a risky game today. So I only need the interior walls traced. I don't need everything else. And I really only do this if I am working on something that is off kilter. So let's sketch that in. I am just going to and I don't even need all of my lines here. I just need this point, and this point. I'm going to lightly sketch that in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this over, and I have to think about this. Place it like that. Oh, yep, I'm going to have to move over. Thank you. I'm going to place it like this, but I'm going to fold my paper so that it's sitting right along that line. Of my wall. And then I still need to draw my little floor line here, which needs to be a foot out. So, doing that quickly. Oh yeah, I forgot to turn on the light here. That helps a little bit. Okay. Let's see, a foot out. If I just remembered to do that while I was sketching these out, that's the other thing to mention, is I would have sketched these up just a little bit higher so that the floor line came even with the wall, just for like neatness sake. Sometimes elevations are like just drawn entirely off to the side and they're not spread out like this, so it's not that big of a deal that these are a little off. Okay, putting that foot mark along there. Okay. I feel like okay, so now I'm going to put this here. We could tape it down. I am just going to, oh, I do need this other corner in this case, because I turned it. So let's mark where that is. Here. I can literally just do like this though. A little carrot. All right. Now I'm going to put this along the bottom, and I'm going to trace up those lines again. So my lines are going to go lightly here, lightly across here, and lightly here. We'll have to ignore that my paper is torn here in the back. Okay, now we are going to proceed to do the same drawing, and I'm just going to remind myself that the U of the chair faces this way. So when I'm drawing it now, I need to make this seat part over here, because that's where I can see it. And let's just look back at these seat dimensions. Okay, angled chair. So back height, 38 inches. That comes up here. So 38, that's 2 and 3 foot. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then we need seat height, 18. Let's see. 1 foot 6 inches. That's there. And then, oh, this is where that needed to be on this far one. 1 foot 6 inches. Oh, that was a bad habit there, using that as a straight edge. Okay. And then arm height is that 26 inches. That's what I wanted here. So that's a 2 and a 2 foot right there. Okay. All right. So now we are going to do the arm height across, and then the seat arm height across here as well. Our seat height is here, and we had 6-inch seat cushions from that. Oh, something looks a little off here about my seat height. Let's see. Seat height 18. 1 foot 6 inches. I think I put it at 1 foot 2. Yeah. Now, if I lower that by 4 inches, that is my total seat height, because 6 inches is, or 2 inches. Okay, I need to erase that line out. That was my dyslexic brain doing dyslexic things. Okay. Let's get that marked in correctly. Yep. Okay. Erase out this line, because that is the side of my chair. Draw the back line into there, and then extend that down and darken that. Okay, now I can erase these extra lines and clean everything up. Nice. All right. Let you get caught up there. And then we will do the door and then the chest of drawers. We're going to get our door in here. Our door is centered on this wall, which is a 12-foot wall. So I'm going to find 6 foot. Now this is along this upward line that is the bottom of my wall, not along the floor, because door built into wall. So do, we will mark 6 feet on here, and then the door was, I believe, yep, 3 foot wide. So that will be 1.5 feet on either side. So I'm going to put that at 1 foot and 6 inches, and then I'll slide this over to be at 6 inches and mark at 1 foot. I need to just really lightly mark that so that I can extend it up past the chair there. So extend that up just a ways, and then the door height is, I wonder if they give us a door height. Nope. I think a standard door height is like a little over 6 feet. Let's look that up. Okay. That's width. No, I want the height. Let's see. 36 inches. That's usually our 84-inch tall door. Okay, cool. So we'll do 84 inches. Which is 7 foot. So from this line here, I will mark up, here's 6 foot, here's 7 foot. Okay. I'm going to have to extend those lines a bit, but that's fine. Okay, so we have the door there. We're just going to put the opening and not worry about sketching in like an actual closed door or anything like that. One thing to do is, once you have stuff like that in, make sure that you go and make sure that your chair is nice and dark. It's in front, so it should be a little bit darker and more bold. The lines can be a little thicker than your door. And I like to just make sure that I'm getting at least the exterior lines. So at least the outline of that a little darker. Alright, last thing looks like is our chest of drawers. Oh, and then I guess we technically are rendering our lamp again in front of this. That'll be easy. So will the chest of drawers. Alright, small chest of drawers. 36 inches wide, 24 inches deep, and 9 inches high. We need the depth, not 9 inches, 29 inches high. Okay, let's start with 24 deep. Oh, and we need to figure out how far out from the wall it is. Oh, it's sitting against the wall. We're good. Okay. 24. Is 2 feet. Oh, this is going from the floor again. 2 foot. And 29 inches high, which is 2 foot 4, because 24, 2 foot 5 inches high. Yes, yes. Ah, bad habit again. Okay. Use our little mark there and mark here. We actually don't see the front of the chest of drawers, so we don't have to render in any drawers. Nice. And erasing. And then we just have the lamp again. So the lamp, one thing I could do is grab my little thing here and find where my lamp. Oh, I forgot to turn this. Okay. Find where my lamp sits. And I'm just going to mark like that. And then now I can project up here and give myself these little tick marks for the width of the base of this lamp. Gonna find the middle of that, which is our 8 inches. Let's see, 6, 7, 8. Wait. 6, 7, 8. Right along the same line here. Okay. I'm really gonna sketch this in more boldly and put in my lines here. And then I need to put that drum on top of the lamp, going up to 60 inches along this line, which is that 5-foot mark. And then bringing it down a foot, which actually looks like I got pretty much the top of that line correct. Widening this out just a bit. And then it's that 18-inch shade diameter. I'm going to double check this. 4, 6, 7, 8, right there, and right there. And then erase any lines. For what? The lamp? So the lamp shade is, I measure to the overall height, which is that 60 inches. And then I measure out from the center line of my lamp, which it's hard to see because it comes right along the edge of this chair. Here. And then I measure down the 12 inches. And then from that center line, I measured out 8 inches in each direction to achieve our total 18-inch diameter. Except for 8 inches is 16 inches. So we need 7 inches in each diameter. Oh my goodness. So that needs to go just a little bit larger. Or, yeah, sorry, 9 inches. 6, 7, 8, 9. Which basically in this means budging it aligns with this scale. And it is in front of my chair, so I'm going to grab my other marker maybe. Oh, there we go. And make this even a bit bolder than my chair, which I can't do with my mechanical pencil, so I'm using this lead pointer. And reminder for you all that right here is the post of that lamp. You just can't see it because it's lined up against that chair. Okay, anything else that we missed? We could go in, if you have on one of your templates like a little floor plant, you could use that. I don't think I have one. I think I have like, yeah, I don't have any little plant thing. You could consider doing like some sort of little plant shape there if you wanted to, and then erasing what's behind it. Or like a little topiary, something like that, snake plant, whatever kind of plant you wanted, or you can just leave it so that we know like the pot's there. All right, so this is our isometric drawing, or no, this is our orthographic drawing. And the last thing that we need to do is put our name on it. So, nameplates, I'm going to pull out an example here. That one doesn't have it drawn on. Let's find, I'm going to pause this and then I'll find a good example. We are going to now zoom out, put our nameplate down here. We do want it to be nice and square with everything else. So what I tend to do is I put one that is about 2 inches by 3 inches. And this could contain numerous different things. Oh, I think I actually do 3.5. I think that's the proportion that I like. Okay. Bring that up here. And what I like to do is, there could be many different things. Often if you're working for a company, the company's name ends up going first. In this case, what we're going to do is about a 1/4 of an inch down, which is right there. I'm just going to really lightly put in lines for reference here. Oh my goodness, something got way off in my drawing out of that line. Okay. I'm going to put about a 1/4 of an inch here, and then I'm going to measure down another 1/4 of an inch, and I kind of just break up the box like that, where I have these light lines, and this helps me get my lettering nice and straight. Okay. at the very top, we are going to put in our course number and our section. So our course number is INTD. So it's INTD, all caps, and then 1100. And then our section is 1A. Let me go back to the camera. So our section here is 1A. And then I am going to put winter, a W for winter, and oh my goodness, I hate my 2s. I never do them how I want them to look. Winter 25, because that's the quarter. So that's what we're using instead of our design firm name or whatever. We are going to skip a line, and this is where I'm going to put my name. And we are going to keep to the all caps. If you need to write neatly, use a straight line. Maybe I do need to today. Okay. And then below this, I'm going to indent a little bit and put Project 1. And then orthographic drawing. So if you need to, or orthographic projection is going to be on the next line. So I'm going to put orthographic projection right here. And that is that spelling. Yep. And then I'm also going to have you date it as, on this last line, 17th of December, 2020. 25. Okay. So we have our section and quarter, our name, the project, and then the date. Over on the bottom right-hand side, we need to do a scale and a indication of direction. For scale, what I simply tend to do is you can either, some places just have you mark like 1/4 inch scale. I like to give just a tiny bit of a scale, and so I take my ruler and I'm going to create a little bit of a line. I like to try to keep it pretty even with my nameplate and just kind of slide it over and give myself that little bit of a line. And then I will put an end on it and mark in about 4 feet. So I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll come along and 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I usually just bring this along and pull my eraser to even out the tick marks in both directions. Let's try to get that even. Okay. And then I will put 1/4 for my scale. All right. And then I need an indication of direction, which is as simple as I usually come up above here and I put in just a little crosshair. And then at the top, I just put north. And you can put in these little arrows if you want. You don't have to. I usually just put in the top one for north. So overall now, if I zoom out, my drawing looks like this. I'm going to change my camera view and then rotate. There we go. So it looks like this, and then down below I have my nameplate and my key. Oh, I need to erase these extra lines. There we go. So at this point, I could trim it down. I'm not that worried about that at this point in the class. So you will want to take this and make sure it is all cleaned up nicely. And then we are going to take a little bit of a bio break, where we can run, use the restroom, grab water, whatever. And then we will come back and we will start talking about isometric drawings. So let's go ahead and break until Let's do 10, 20, because it's 10, 10 right now.